I love that. And you know what I love? I love to be here in London. I'm going to say it to every podcast. I'm very disappointed by the weather because it's not raining and it's not foggy.
Give it some time.
Foggy.
Give it some time.
I know it's coming. But I am very excited also to be here with a lot of people that I've met before. Recently, actually, in San Francisco.
Just
at our
last
RSA
month,
conference, and here we are, Infosecurity Europe, 30 years. I cannot believe it. 30 years, it means that cybersecurity has been around for that long.
Yeah. It's incredible when you think about it.
Doesn't feel like it.
No, not at all. Not given, especially all the problems we're still dealing with. But yeah.
Exactly. It's about perception, probably. So, Jason Nurse, so good to see you again.
Thanks for having me back.
All right, let's start with a little introduction, who you are, what you do, what you focus on for the people that haven't seen you before.
Yep, so my name is...
chat.
Yeah, so great. So my name is Dr. Jason Nurse, and essentially I'm an academic. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about is understanding people's security behavior and understanding the why behind people act the way they act, and why people sometimes surprise us and maybe don't behave as securely as we might hope or expect. So I think that's my niche, really understanding the psychology behind cybersecurity.
And I love that because I ask always many things. I look at more from a, let's say, at a higher level of a sociological impact. So, psychology is more about the individual, sociology is about the larger community, but there is social psychology, which is kind of connection with that. And I think we all interact together in a way, especially in a corporate environment. Maybe we do what other people do. We feed on each other in the community, and then our perception of cybersecurity, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so much of what I've seen in cybersecurity can be informed by communities, informed by our close circles, can be informed by our employers, can be informed by so much other stuff. Our thinking, our culture, a lot of it can be informed by understanding this background, understanding this context, understanding the why.
Yeah. And here's the thing, I always, from every conference, I try to get, what is this all about?
Yeah.
And of course, I don't know what's going on the expo floor. People are selling each other things, but I do know what happened on these couches, because we chat with people. And so far, behavior. It's been the word. I talk to people that do training. I talk to people that want to change the way that we perceive cybersecurity. And I want to definitely pick your brain on. It's kind of a victory in a way that now we are in a cybersecurity conference and we're talking about behavior.
We're not talking only about the technology. We're talking about something else. Yeah. I think behavior is important. I think a lot of what we've seen, a lot of what I'm seeing popping up, a lot of the attacks that I'm seeing, the reason isn't necessarily because of weaknesses in the technology or exploitations of the technology. It's really because of people, not necessarily because of people, but it exploits people. Attackers are really exploring what are the niches that they can exploit. I mean, if we look at the recent attacks on UK supermarket chains, a lot of what's coming out now that potentially might have occurred is that some of that might have happened because people in IT help desk were socially engineered and tricked into doing stuff. And that really is all about behavior, right? Understanding why do people fall for those type of attacks and what can we do to prevent it going forward.
Yeah, and it comes down behavior, culture. How do we
attitudes, behavior, culture, these are some of the key, I guess, components that we need to think about.
So let's go a little bit back and then we go into kind of the future. We're going to talk about AI.
Sounds good. Indeed.
I'm looking at 30 years again, and it makes me think like 30 years, and now this is probably the first conference in 15 years that I'm doing this, that we actually, again, I feel like behavior is really there. Why did it take so long to go from it's a tech problem into, no, it's actually human?
I think because we're seeing many, many more attacks now exploiting individuals, exploiting how people think, how people behave, how people act. And because of that, there's this sort of gradual shift away from, hey, maybe it's not only the technology we should focus on, maybe it's understanding individuals, understanding why maybe they're continuously succumbing to social engineering attacks and different things like that. Why is human error being a continuous factor in data breaches? I think now we're sort of seeing this gradual shift away from just the pure technology to the other components, which I think is great. And I think, to be honest, this was always coming with the advent of cybersecurity. One of the big differences for me personally, seeing us move away from information security purely to cybersecurity, was to be more encompassing, right? Not just to focus on
because we're connected.
Yes, yes, and more and more of society is connected. More and more society is online. So that bridge, I think, is what's going to moving us much more towards now understanding more than tech and more understanding people.
Yeah, I think there is a point there. Before it was like, is the computer going to be attacked? Then the computer got connected.
Yep.
Can it be attacked when it's connected? Like you open doors. Then we go inside the computer with social media. We go in with a lot of new things, and then we are more vulnerable to social engineering. So it all makes sense.
Yep.
And now, see where I'm going with this?
I can see.
And now we get generative AI that we talk to every day. And what's the behavior there? I know you have some numbers.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. And so as part of my kind of other more industry focused role, what we do is we conduct a study every year called the All Behavior Report. We partner with the National Cybersecurity Alliance in the US. And what we essentially try to understand is people's attitudes and behaviors and how this changes potentially across the globe, and sort of key new things that are popping up, new topics, new concerns. And one of the big ones that we've seen pop out is this notion of AI, and essentially more or less shadow AI, what you can call it as. And what we're seeing here essentially is in workplaces, everyone now is being nudged towards using AI to be more productive, to be more efficient at their jobs, and all of this makes sense. The tricky bit though is that sometimes what we're seeing is that people are using AI without their employer's knowledge, and people are sharing sensitive information with AI without their employer's knowledge. I'm sure they're just trying to be more productive in their roles, but what we saw, for example, is of the people that use AI, about 40% of people share sensitive information, sensitive corporate information with AI without their employer's knowledge. And that's
is it just
concern.
Information, or is it actually documents like, hey, look at this spreadsheet, and
part and parcel, all of that is within it.
They tell me what it's all about.
Exactly.
Summarize me these 20 pages.
Exactly. And this is a big concern because
there's
now,
no little.
before when we were talking about corporate breaches and employers being more cautious about locking stuff down, now AI has become almost this sort of floodgate where, employers really aren't checking this as much. And they're in a really tricky position, because another interesting stat actually was that of the people that, looking at organizations, 52% of people had not been trained on safe or responsible AI use. So once again, big stat.
I'm not surprised.
Big stat. So this is why we're getting things exactly like this, where people are sharing this sensitive information, sharing this sensitive corporate information, thinking, of course, potentially that, hey, we just need to share this out there, we need to be more productive. But the reality is, it's a new vector of data loss, data leakage for organizations, which of course is a big concern.
And okay, so two things I want to definitely touch before we end this. One is how corporate can or cannot control this. So one, it's like the school. Do you ban completely the use of AI? Do you take the phone and you leave it there, or you teach people how to use it in the research and writing their papers? Like, okay, it's a tool, use it wisely, right? So that's one. How do you interact with this? And the other one, I'm going to ask you later.
So first one, I would definitely suggest is really all about responsible use and helping people to understand how to use this technology to a benefit and to a way which doesn't compromise security, doesn't compromise confidentiality, and allows them to do their job, allows them to do their day-to-day. Because the reality is, AI is here. It can make our lives much more productive, much more efficient. So we need to leverage it. We need to leverage it wherever possible, but we need to leverage it responsibly. I think that's the key thing. People need to be made aware, helped to understand how can we use this stuff responsibly.
And you cannot lock it. Like, you can block certain website from a browser. You can, zero trust. This, that. AI, can you even do that? Either you use it all, or you don't use it.
Yeah, this is the thing, in that it's an interesting balance. I've seen some organizations try to approach the problem by having their own internal AI models. So saying you can use AI, but you need to use our AI, which is locked down, which is a bit more
down. Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is often the real, unless they're paying big bucks to get full access to.
Yep.
It's less effective, and that's a big concern. But it's a tricky thing. I mean, I've seen more organizations popping up trying to maybe filter and sanitize what information goes into AI. But it's really this question of how do we balance this, because we need to get the benefits from it, but how can we do this in a responsible way?
And that's training.
Well, a part of it
Pretty
is
much.
helping people to understand,
Yeah.
And then also just even use cases. How do we use this? How do we use this in an effective, efficient way, and a responsible way that actually doesn't jeopardize the organization or themselves? Because many people will use AI at homes as well, in their personal lives, in their day to day.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to block it when it's on your phone.
Yes, I mean, one really quick example of this is I remember speaking to a friend a couple of weeks back actually, and he wasn't allowed to use AI at work. However, he had his personal phone. He could take pictures of the screen, upload pictures of stuff, and still get the processing that he needed done. Shadow AI, this is a big concern, right?
It's more than shadow.
Well, yeah, more than shadow. It's very much in the clear, isn't it?
It's pretty much in the clear for sure.
And we don't know how much organizations are looking out for issues
yeah,
like this.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I'm curious, because you look at behavior and psychology. I mean, I read more and more, and I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've started to develop a relationship
with your
AI,
yeah.
Because in order to do what I wanted to do, and I say, hey, help me to write this post, or help me to, I need to know. It needs to know that I'm sarcastic.
Yep.
I do
Yep.
sociology and technology. I do this, I do that, and it's starting to, it knows the name of
Yep.
my dogs and other things,
Yep.
and it's cute.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
What have you learned and how people relate to AI at a human-machine level, very Asimov?
So it is a really interesting question actually,
Yeah.
because AI now is so advanced. I use the word advanced instead of the word intelligent. I'll use advanced for now.
Yeah.
It's able for the average person, you can interact with it just as it was a friend. I was speaking to someone this morning that says, the AI knows so much about them. They can pick up conversations, they can continue stuff, they can provide guidance on different things. The tricky bit though is it creates sometimes a really weird relationship, in that undoubtedly some people will kind of grow very attached to their AI, and there's questions there about, well, at what point does that become a problem? Mm-hmm. At that point, does that become a psychological problem? And then sometimes actually guidance provided by AI can be tricky. I was reading an article just actually yesterday. Super interesting article. Key finding from it was this person was using a mental health chatbot, right? And it was giving guidance.
Right.
No, it was not mental health. It was a health chatbot. It was giving guidance. And at some point, the chatbot actually said this person was a drug addict in the past and they were recovering. At some point, the chatbot said, actually, you're going through a really rough time. You probably should take a hit now, because that will help you level off. So here we have, and this is a news article. I can't remember where I saw it. This is a news article, and in this chatbot has suggested this person take a hit. This person is recovering a drug addict. This person take the edge off because they're at this point where they need it, according to the chatbot. So we really need to be cautious how much we integrate this into our lives and the impact it can actually have in our day to day.
Yeah, and we cannot forget that it's not really thinking.
Exactly.
It's just putting one word
It's
after
just
another.
providing sequences of words. What's the next logical
and it's
word?
amazing the way it feels,
Yep.
but we need to remember is not really understanding the context.
That's the reality. And the thing that worries me the most, to be honest, is that we understand that we're in the technology space. The average user and the public, they'll just think this is amazing and it's giving me guidance and I should follow it.
Which goes back to training and education.
It goes back to making people more aware, helping people to understand the nature of what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there's going to be resistance there as there is resistance for cybersecurity.
There might be. Because I think once AI gets integrated into our lives where it's such a beneficial thing, people might not want to let it go. People might not want to let go. So it's one to watch for the future.
A lot to think about, right?
Yeah, lots, as always.
All right,
As always.
well, we'll keep thinking in between our conversations that I'm sure will happen again. I don't know where. Around the world, I know you travel a lot.
I'm sure we'll bump into each other again.
We'll bump into each other
great,
again.
really.
So far, we're having a great time here and meeting with a lot of important people, important conversation, smart people to have this conversation at Infosecurity Europe. And we're covering it. We're talking with people. We got to talk more and more. More talks coming up. You can find everything you need on itspmagazine.com/infosec25. I learned that. Sean is going to be proud of me. Stay tuned for more conversation to come. Jason, always so good.
Always a
to see
pleasure,
you.
man, Marco. Thank
it.
you very much for having me.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Take care.